I'm not sure why they ended the show with this over what was an incredible match between Andrade Cien Almas and Rey Mysterio, an early contender for Match of the Year in WWE. These two tore the house down. Some very innovative stuff also in this match that you really don't see very often. So, for example, Almas, he had Rey in position for an electric chair. Rey did this springboard off the ropes, landed right on Andrade's shoulders. And with him in that position, Rey fell forward, and both guys go tumbling over the top rope at the same time. Out to the floor. Almas lands not on his feet, he landed on his knees, but he quickly got back up to his feet. The entire time, Rey is still on his shoulders. They did a 360 out over the top rope, out of the ring. Rey is still on this man's shoulders. And he spins Rey around into a position, gives him a sit-out powerbomb on the floor. That was awesome. Then they do another ridiculous spot. Almas is out on the apron. Rey is on the top rope. He hits a Hurricane Rana onto Almas on the apron, sends Almas flying off the apron to the floor. You watch that replay, which I watched about 10 times, and you literally see Almas just bounce. His entire body bounced off the floor. It just looked brutal. Mysterio hit another Canadian Destroyer after hitting the one on Almas in their match the week before. That was for a near fall. Rey hit the 619. He climbed up top. Zelina Vega jumped up on the apron to distract the referee. Almas crotched Rey on the top rope and finished him off with his draping hammerlock DDT, the same move he won the NXT Championship with from Drew McIntyre, and the same move that he used to beat Johnny Gargano in the greatest NXT match of all time. This was just fantastic stuff. Now, they have changed Andrade's name. Almas is no longer Andrade Cien Almas in WWE. He is now just Andrade. Great example here, as I said on Twitter, of WWE creating solutions for problems that do not exist. There are people saying, well, you know, I support WWE in this because his name was difficult to pronounce. Yeah, for people with a fucking speech impediment, maybe. If you can pronounce Shinsuke Nakamura, you can pronounce Andrade Cien Almas. When have I've never heard anybody have any difficulty saying that name. What a nonsensical bullshit argument that I heard from some people this week. Well, it is a hard name to pronounce. No, it's not. If you have marbles in your mouth, maybe. I've never heard anybody stutter or stumble over saying the man's name before. This is from a company that changed Donovan Dijak's name to Dominic Dijakovic. And when Nigel McGuinness and Percy Watson pronounced it wrong on television last week, they were pronouncing it as Dijakovic. Mauro Ranallo called them out for it and said, no, it's not Dijakovic, it's Dijakovic. They actually gave him a more complicated name, to the point where their lead announcer had to correct his colleagues on television. I'm sure by the time, though, he makes it to Raw or SmackDown, he'll just be Dominic, so it won't matter. But at least in his case, it is kind of a difficult name to pronounce. When your own announcers are having trouble with it, it's a difficult name to pronounce. But Andrade Cien Almas, no, well, that's too difficult. I mean, Lord knows I sat here before I started recording and I was trying to practice so I would say it the right way. I kept fucking it up left and right. I mean, Andrade Cien Almas? No, that's not it. Maybe it's Andrade Cien. It's like I used to pronounce John Cena before I realized it was John Cena. Maybe that's it. No, maybe it's Andrade Cien Almas. Is that what it is? You know who says it like that? A moron. That's who says it like that. Andrade Cien Almas. Even Greg Hamilton had this great entrance for him. He would announce it. You know, he'd be like, Andrade Cien Almas. It was this great entrance. It was very unique. Leave it to WWE to take away, to remove the uniqueness of the man's name. And you're right. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. He's going to get over or not over, regardless of whether or not he has the extra two names. They cut out 2/3 of the man's name, but in the bigger picture, is it a big deal? No. It's not a big deal. It still pisses me off, though, because it was not necessary. And all these people making excuses for WWE and, whoa, it's more I heard other people, oh, it's more marketable. What is he, fucking Cher? Fucking Madonna? I thought Andrade Cien Almas was pretty damn marketable on its own. Alberto Del Rio was a hell of a lot better than just Alberto. So, that's my position on this. I've stated my case. All these people making excuses for WWE about how, you know what, the name really was hard to pronounce. No, it wasn't. And how it's more marketable this way. No, it isn't. But, you know, good on you for trying. Good on you for sticking up for them. It was stupid. This is the Vince McMahon thing. And it works for some people. You know, for Cesaro, we all call him Cesaro. Not a big deal. He used to be Antonio Cesaro. Big E Langston became Big E. Alexander Rusev became Rusev. It's not as though they haven't done this before. And they'll do it again. Whether it's Dijak when he eventually gets called up, other people from NXT, they're going to have their names butchered also. And for some people, it works. In this case, I thought it was unnecessary. And I will continue to call him Andrade Cien Almas anyway on this podcast because I'm A, just used to calling him that, and B, it's just a better name. It may take me a few months. Eventually, I'll catch on. I'll be like everybody else, and I'll call him just Andrade. But for now, he's still Andrade Cien Almas. More important than this name nonsense, though, this was a great match. And this was probably, the third match now? Second or third match these two have had on television. And it's amazing what happens when you just put these two in the ring and let them do their thing. You know, when they're able to just go out there and do what they do best, you end up with what we saw on Tuesday, which was fantastic. Most importantly, though, when it comes to Almas, they're giving him, you know, here in this feud, they're giving him a chance to shine. They're putting him in there with somebody who is going to make him look as good as he can possibly look. We'll see if that continues in light of the news that Almas has been telling friends of his to avoid signing with WWE, or at least warning them about the perils of coming into WWE. He's very good friends with Rush, for example. He warned him about coming to WWE, and Rush ended up signing with Ring of Honor instead. He's also warned Dragon Lee about coming in. He's friendly with him. He told him that WWE isn't all that it's cracked up to be. And it makes you wonder where his head is at when it comes to his own contract and how much longer he has left on that. You know, could Almas be headed out the door? I don't know how much time is left on his deal. It could be years. And believe me, he's not getting an early release from his deal any more than a top guy would in that company. Almas would be a superstar wherever he landed. He's got a lot of options. He would automatically become one of the hottest free agents in wrestling if he suddenly left WWE and was looking to go to a new home. But they're finally waking up, hopefully, to what they have in this guy, whatever their motivation might be. I don't even care. As long as we get to see more matches like this out of him, he'll be able to win over the crowd for his work alone. Now, Mysterio and Almas have already been announced as having a 2 out of 3 falls match. Boy, when they find something that works, boy, do they beat this into the ground. They're going to do Almas and Mysterio 2 out of 3 falls on Smackdown here, 5 days before the Royal Rumble. That has already been announced for this Tuesday. You know, when I did the prediction show many weeks ago and I pitched, hey, you know what they should do? They should feud Almas and Mysterio. This was before they even put them together on TV the first time. And I said, this is the match they should save and build to at WrestleMania. They should have Almas win the United States Championship first, and they can build even open WrestleMania this year with a match with him defending against Rey Mysterio. And then they went and they put these two together in a feud on TV. And so far, it's been great. Again, I can't complain about that. Are they burning it out too quick? If they continue to do this, yes. Yes, they are. Because now we've now reached stipulation territory, right? So now singles matches are no longer any good. Now we're getting into the stips, and there's only so many of those. So they're going to have to pull back a little bit on this. They could still build to something between these two at WrestleMania. I understand there's 2 pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. I do understand that. But WrestleMania is still the big attraction of the year. It is still the biggest stage for these two to go out there and work together on. Bigger than the Elimination Chamber, bigger than Fastlane. And so, yes, I would prefer that they kind of blow this thing off. At this point, it would be a blow-off at WrestleMania. How do you get there? Well, you can still build to Almas winning the U.S. title. Rusev is not going, I don't think, is going to lose the belt back to Nakamura at the Royal Rumble. And so if he remains the champion, Let's say they have their 2 out of 3 falls match on TV this Tuesday. Almas wins. Almas wins 2 falls to 1. They have an incredible match. And that almost serves as this de facto #1 contenders match where Almas can then say, hey, we have vanquished Rey Mysterio. We want to challenge Rusev next for the United States Championship. This guy needs gold. And at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, they can have a singles match, and Andrade Cien Almas is now the new United States Champion. You can then revisit the program, the feud, with Almas and Mysterio and do a WrestleMania match where it is title versus mask. Rey puts up his mask against Almas' championship, and I wouldn't have Rey unmasked, so that gives you a sense of what I think the outcome would be. I don't know where all this nonsense is coming. I see some people saying, oh, it's, mask versus hair. I don't know where this hair thing is coming from. I'd much rather John Cena, frankly, lose a hair match. But, I don't know where people are getting this from. I don't want to see bald Almas either. So, I don't like that stipulation at all. I think title versus mask, we've seen that before. I think Jericho and Rey, I think for the Intercontinental title at one time, had a title versus mask match. To me, that would make more sense. So yes, you can still, I think, build to that. And hopefully that is something that they are considering doing. But this 2 out of 3 falls match they're building to on Tuesday is going to be something else. I think, what's the word I used on Twitter? I called it a banger. I don't even know why I used that word. I don't know where I heard that word. Is that a UK term? I don't know. It's going to be a banger. Hopefully this time it'll actually main event the show.